All right, big props to you boys over there at Memphis 666 exclusive Slick Wolf Joy Riders. Thank you so much, everybody. I am Abandoned Nihilism, and this is the News Underground. A lot of people probably weren't expecting me to stream today, so they're not going to be coming in immediately. That's fine. We're just going to get right to it. No problem. No stress. You know, the life of a small streamer. That's how it is. Sometimes you win them. Sometimes you don't, boys. How it is, you know. No one can really handle. I mean, even I can't handle the amount of news needed. One needs to consume to be able to, you know, talk about this stuff with any kind of certainty. Like, you really got to, you know, dip your tippy toes into the abyss and cross your fingers that it doesn't destroy you. Speaking of the abyss, we were looking at gameplay from Shadow Tower Abyss for the PS2, a Japanese exclusive that was translated a couple years ago. Definitely check that out if you enjoy Dark Souls and the themes around Dark Souls. You might find a lot of similarities in the Shadow Tower series. Yeah, so we just got that going. That's fine. Turn that down a bit. So right off the bat, wanted to start off with just an absolutely insane story, completely bizarre. This American citizen in Panama was frustrated at some climate protesters, and stone cold walked up and gunned two of them down. Some witnesses are saying he said something along the lines of, you know, do you want it first? The video that I saw starts just before the second murder. There's already a dead person on the asphalt. And I mean, it's just as you see in the picture here, just as one would wipe their nose or, you know, or throw away a piece of trash, he lifts his gun and just murders this person, drops them stone cold dead right there. And as you can see in the picture, I mean, the picture is worth 1,000 words here. You know, this has to win some photography awards. This image, it absolutely has to win some photography awards. I mean, mid ejection, the casing, you know, the cartridge there, whatever you want to call it, the bullet. And look at the face. The man is dead inside. He's completely dead inside. I don't see a hint of remorse. I don't see a hint of I don't even see anger. You know? He looks like he's taking out the trash. You know? And you know, so the thing that, of course, that is more disgusting than this, you know, this was posted by a right-wing Twitter rage grifting account called End Wokeness. You know, they farm rage and all that. You know, they post incredibly incendiary things. So on this one, the post is rather bland, almost journalistic, where, you know, just stating facts. But if you go into the comments section, it's just absolutely vile. Unfortunately, I don't have the comment section up. I should have had it pulled up, but it's mainly right wingers that are trying to make him into another Kyle Rittenhouse. A lot of right wingers trying to make this guy into a hero. He apparently tried to get to it. He tried to go back to his car and drive away, and, you know, was arrested on the scene. But it's one thing to have a sociopath like this commit stone cold murder. It's all the more bizarre to see boomers and conservatives see this man and go, yep, that's my guy. That's how I want to act. That's how I want to treat people. This is what I think is going to be good for society. Extremely frightening. Extremely frightening stuff. So I figured might as well take this opportunity to once again go over the mass shooting tracker. There was actually several mass shootings that I wasn't able to cover because I was on vacation for 2 weeks, week. There were some major high-profile mass shootings, whatever, you know, fill in the blank. Amazingly, we've had 4 whole days since the last mass shooting. That's probably the highest I've ever seen that at the mass shooting tracker. Got one in Hempstead, Texas, 7 injured. Juvenile victim, 8-year-old boy among the wounded. Gunman unknown. Was this the... No, the one I heard about, the boy died. There was someone who shot indiscriminately into a crowd, and the boy died. And the only one that died was a boy. Maybe the news has been updated and he's not dead. Some good news. Over there in Atlanta, Georgia, 6 injured, gunman unknown. Phoenix, Arizona, 4 injured, juvenile victim. 1 juvenile among the wounded, gunman unknown. A lot of children getting injured here, and of course, you know, children are still inherently innocent, right? So I guess the solution is for kids to strap up. That should fix that. Indianapolis, 1 dead and 5 injured, gunman unknown. Tacoma, Washington, 2 dead and 3 injured. Suspect, Atlanta, Brian Peterson. Uh-oh. One of the Jordan Peterson's brothers, sisters, uncles got free from the insane asylum. Watch out, guys. I'm gallows humor, sorry. I doubt Jordan Peterson had anything to do with this. There might be a 1% chance, though. Look it up. Anyway, folks, just like to remind you that this is the new normal. You can expect to, witness or experience gun violence in almost any public place that you go to, any kind of public event, any kind of place where a mass shooter could take advantage. Of course, you also have to worry about situations like what we see here. A lot of these are crimes of passion, where the children get involved. Some kind of scuffle happening in a parking lot. Just wanted you to know this is the new normal for you. This is your life, America. This is what the society you've created. So I wanted to show this because it further backs up my warning. I call myself Abandoned Nihilism, aka the Harbinger, and this is the harbinger of things to come. Or maybe what's to come. That sounds more poetic, I guess. Yeah, let's just go full pretentious on that one. Doesn't fucking matter. We got assholes out here calling themselves Vosh. What the fuck is that? It sounds like a fucking stuffed animal. But no, back to my original point here. I'm constantly trying to remind people that Republicans are no longer concerning themselves with democracy. There is an active project to dismantle democracy right in front of us. These treasonous actions are not being treated with the seriousness that they need to be by the neoliberals, etc., etc., etc. And this just further backs up my point here. So we had some, so they oh great, we defeated Roe v. Wade. We've, abortions, back. That's what Nikki Haley was talking about yesterday. Well, abortion's back to states' rights, and unfortunately, the state, they were talking about Ohio, and they were like, well, unfortunately, the state decided to have abortion. Oh no, So what does the Republicans in power in Ohio immediately do when a Democratic decision has been made? They immediately kick into gear to undermine and destroy the will of the people. Don't believe me? Listen up. A Republican state representative in North Dakota has urged authorities in Ohio to, listen to this, quote unquote, ignore the results of Tuesday's election in which voters backed a motion entrenching the right to an abortion in the state constitution. That's it. In the state constitution, right to abortion. And there can be caveats. There's all kinds of rules. No third trimester, all that stuff. But women must be given the opportunity to make their own choice on their reproductive rights. Ohioans voted 56.6% versus 43.4% to support issue 1, which inserted the quote unquote right to make and carry out one's own reproductive decisions. So novel. Into the Ohio Constitution. The poll was just one of a string of GOP reverses on Tuesday, which also saw Democrats take control of both chambers of the state legislature in Virginia and extend their majority on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Big win. Big fucking win. Okay? I think it's safe to say Ohio's pretty solid blue now. Abortion access has become highly contentious in the state level since the Supreme Court voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, a 1973 ruling, and we all know the history of Roe v. Wade. June 22, in response, some Democratic-controlled states have sought to entrench abortion rights in their own constitutions, while a number of Republican counterparts have introduced restrictions. Writing on Twitter, North Dakota State Representative Brandon Pitchard argued Tuesday's Issue 1 vote in Ohio should be ignored. Now listen to this. This is where it gets important. He said, quote unquote, listen to this. This is a representative of your government. This other, thousands of right-wingers see this man and they say, that's my guy. This is how I want my country to look like. I agree with this message. Oh, well, not all Republicans are fascist. Yeah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they say they are. This is the actions. These are the people they vote for. Listen to this. It would be an act of quote unquote direct democracy should not exist. Case in point, Ohio legalizing the slaughter of babies, aka abortion. Quote, it would be an act of courage. Listen to this. It would be an act of courage to ignore the results of the election and not allow for the murder of Ohio babies. We are probably 10 years away from this opinion being acceptable, though. So he's over here advocating for the end of democracy, advocating for installing a theocracy, and he's like, oh yeah, I can't say that in public though, I'll get canceled. You're a traitor. It's one thing to be a communist not in power and talk about a revolution, destroy the everything and tear it all down. It's another thing to install yourself into power and then act like this and speak like this. This is a representative, Brandon Pitchard. Direct democracy should not exist. Direct democracy should not exist. It would be an act of courage to ignore the results, aka ignore the voters, ignore democracy, ignore the election. An act of courage. These are words of traitors. These are the treasonous words of Benedict Arnold's. And they're doing it right in front of our face. And the neoliberals are sitting back saying, well, we can't break the status quo. Got to reach across the aisle. That's a savvy thing to do. We got to reach across the aisle and hope for a better Republican Party. You're tubing, you're not wrong. Welcome back, Woke Patriot, and welcome back, You're tubing. Woke Patriot, you're 100% right. Ohio has a Republican governor in Mike DeWine, with the GOP also controlling both chambers of the state legislature. This is what I was worried about. But I guess it's still purple. Though none of these have suggested they will flat out ignore Tuesday's election results. Yeah, okay. This is the individuals like Brandon Pitchard are part of Steve Bannon's plan. Well, if we don't get him this year, we'll get him next time, right? We just need more Brandon Pitchards. More partisans, theocrats, fascists. Yeah, fascists, I said it. Recoil in horror. As you should. It's here, it's now, it's happening. Moving on to the next story. I'm blasting through these. I have a very strict time limit. Just something I saw in the news that, troubled me a little bit. Germany has every right to do this, of course, but kind of a sign of the times. Germany pledges to make its military, quote unquote, the backbone of defense in Europe. My, how times have changed. My, have the times changed. There are still guys who fought in World War II. Aren't there some World War II veterans still alive to see this? Boy, that's awkward. But you know, that's the way of things. That's why war is unnecessary. That's why war is outmoded. Look at this. The enemy of planet Earth, the enemy of freedom and liberty, is now, you know, happy to announce that it is willing to be the backbone of a new European unity. You know what I mean? I just find it fascinating. That's all. Just real quick, couple sentences out of this one. Germany will strengthen its military to make it the backbone of deterrence and collective defense in Europe. Its defense minister pledged on Thursday as Berlin issued new defense policy guidelines for the first time in over a decade. The 19-page document details what the Zeitwending, the major shift of policy German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Yeah, and this, you know, this didn't receive a lot of mainstream news because it's very wonky, but this is actually a major deal. Up until this point, Germany said, I'm not fucking with it. You know, we're not doing it. You know, we're not going to get into why. But we're just, you know, we're going to sit this one out. We're not going to join the United States. We're, you know, only what is absolutely necessary to our NATO obligations. That's it. But then after the Ukrainian invasion, things did change. Welcome back, Borderline Feline. So just interesting stuff. If you want to see the whole article, it's right here. It's a Reuters article. Feel free to read it. If you want to swim through the advertisements, the page-long advertisements, you know, I guess this is the only way to do news now. This is like literally the only way to do it is just to fucking sell you a bunch of fucking Marvel movies and shit. I don't know, man. Just wanted to I just wanted to go over a couple key points in the debate yesterday. Big props to your boy at the Rational National, David something or other here, I think his name. What's his name? David Dowell. Good guy over here. Germans shouldn't be allowed to have powerful military. No, come on. No. No, they've, as atrocious as it sounds, Germany has regained the trust of the global political world. Hard to imagine one could ever come back from something as horrific as Nazis, but so he was pointing this out. Hold on, let me just pause this here. He was pointing this out.
Moment, and it's only 6 seconds long.
And as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you. Governor DeSantis, thank you.
What? Yeah, I pointed this out too, dude. I pointed this out as well. What the fuck? What the fuck is this? What is he doing with his tongue? Why? Why? Why?
What is this?
He legitimately doesn't know how to smile. This is what being a torturer turns you into. Look, he's trying his best to emulate what happy looks like, and he's doing a piss poor job. He was doing a piss poor job.
Ron DeSantis, this is I think every debate he's done this, where he doesn't know how to smile. It's like he's reciting in his mind, okay,
yeah.
after I say this opening statement,
I gotta do this.
I say this line, I have to remember to smile.
Yes, Borderline Feline, Vivek Ramaswamy called Zelensky a Nazi, a cargo pants wearing Nazi. I had to pause the video and make a couple statements. Yeah, let's just get a little recap here.
Vivek wants.
Yeah, I mean he is a clown, and like the people, the yes men that he's surrounded himself with are not doing him any favors, because he honestly gets up on stage and he confidently pulls his pants down and says, "Look at my small wiener." I mean, just totally embarrasses himself with some of his proposals and some of his ideas. And you know, presents it like, "Oh, well, I'm the expert in the room. I'm just saying the things that are uncomfortable." And it's like, well, you sound like, you know, like you're a 15-year-old who just discovered politics 3 days ago. I mean, we could get into the details, but just I could give you just one that says everything about this guy. He thinks handing over Ukraine to Russia is somehow going to hurt Russia's relationship with China and allow us to, foster in a new age of Russian cooperation. He says it with confidence. He says it like he knows what he's talking about, dude. It's like you got your fucking boss standing in front of a fax machine asking you how to Xerox something. You're like, you're not even in front of the right machine. He's like, "Oh, you're fired." I know what a machine is. I know which one it is. You're fired. And you're like, you don't even know who I am. You don't even know what you're talking about. I'm the expert here. I got lots of money. It's an impressive forehead, though. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of preening. There's a lot of, this guy looks in the mirror, a lot.
To build a wall. Not just any wall, but 2 walls.
Listen to this guy.
One of them on the northern border with my country, Canada.
Had to be, right?
And he even, you'll see, he quotes Wayne Gretzky here.
Americans. So we got to just skate to where the puck is going, not just where the puck is. Don't just build the wall, build both walls. Can't just complete the wall, use the military to seal the Swiss cheese for the tunnels that they're actually building underneath that wall.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy.
Be practical and actually get this job.
Now it's.
I mean, is he talking about tunnels? Are Americans digging tunnels into Canada to escape this madness? Like they're escaping gun violence as they're digging a hole, like bullets whizzing over their head.
It's unclear if the tunnels he is discussing are also on the northern border.
All right, so I don't have time to go through this whole video. They bring up the stupid comments he made to Nikki Haley calling him scum, blah 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 blah. He apparently, some people are saying there's more evidence of Ron DeSantis wearing heels. So let's take a look at that.
Looks like he's struggling a little.
Oh, he talked some crazy shit about Nikki Haley, dude. It was pretty funny. We'll play it.
From her time at the UN.
Because of the way Vivek ends this clip.
The matter is the Republican Party is not that much better. You have the likes of Nikki Haley, who stepped down from her time at the UN. Bankrupt or in debt was her family. Then she becomes a military contractor. She joins the board of Boeing and otherwise, and is now a multimillionaire. So I think that's wrong when Republicans do it or Democrats do it. That's the choice we face. Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got 2 of them on stage.
Whoa, got him. Wow, got him. He also talks shit about Nikki Haley's daughter. He's like, I think it's funny that she's talking shit about TikTok when her daughter's on TikTok. And Nikki Haley's like, "You keep my daughter's name out of your mouth." Or she says it incorrectly. She doesn't say that. Like, "You keep my daughter's name out of your words," or some shit like that. It's just, oh, I think that's when I had to pause and go lie in the bed.
Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels. We guys shared this on
All right,
Twitter.
so let's see. Speaking of 3-inch heels,
Ron DeSantis during the commercial break. One of the commercials.
Yeah, he's savage. It's like when you see a video of Ben Shapiro. It's like, oh, destroyed college student, and then the college student is actually, doing a pretty good job of, debating Ben Shapiro, and the only thing Ben Shapiro is doing is talking over that person and speaking really fast and saying as many things as humanly possible. The college student's still like, yeah, well, you're still wrong, and here I'm trying to explain why, but you won't let me speak, so it's hard, Oh, I got you. You're owned, based. You're owned. I'm so based.
Commercial breaks. Check out his walk here. Looks like a.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think he's? What do you think he's? I think, you know what. Normally, I would call bullshit. But honestly, Ron DeSantis is so vapid. He's so pathetic. I'm gonna agree with the conspiracy theorists on this one. I mean,
Looks
Ben
like he's struggling a
Shapiro
little
and
bit.
Mark Levin, dude. Oh, that's really loud for you.
So
Sorry.
again, picture.
Um, Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin are just
That doesn't look like a man who's comfortable walking.
true. It really doesn't. It's a very stiff walk. It's a very almost like he's like, you know, having to like he's up a little bit, but not up like enough for high heels, but up a little bit. You know what I mean?
That doesn't look like a man who's comfortable walking.
Yeah, he walks like Herman from the Munsters.
Could go to the fact that he's an alien, or
So then there's another little piece of evidence where apparently he tripped and fell. Yeah, so just some liberals on Twitter pointing out that if Biden did this, Sean Hannity would be talking about it
Biden
24/7.
did this, Hannity would be in the anchor chair right now for special breaking coverage.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Check out this moment.
Oh, where's he going? Oh,
Fucking nothing burger, dog. Nothing burger. A little bit more of this shit talking because it's just so fucking funny.
Check this out.
How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye.
So that's funny. He goes, he doesn't answer the question, and then okay, sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted. It's just, I think it okay.
Everyone looks terrible here, but check this out.
How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your.
I mean that really is really fucking slimy. Even in today's realm of politics, like Trump straight up made fun of an autistic or like a retarded guy. You know, he did the whole hand motions and the noises. I mean, he calls Mexicans rapists, but I can't really recall Trump going after a politician's kid. He made allusions to other politicians' dicks. Remember when he did that on the debate stage? There was allusions to big dicks. Someone brought it up, but I don't think I even heard Trump go after the kids. But I don't know though. Trump talks a lot of shit. I could be wrong on that. But this really is next level slime, even for right-wing fascists. And it's just too much. It's just too much, dude.
Family first.
leave my
Before
daughter
appreciating
out of your
anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter.
Out of your voice. Okay, Mom. Sorry. I'll turn the TV down. But she was like ready with that. And really that's what you got, man, because you got to get the phrase right because it sounds good, man. Leave my daughter's name out your mouth. Bust it out there, but I guess this is the Christian version of it.
For a long time, so you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my
before
daughter
appreciating
out of your
anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter.
Can we talk about her fucking Hunger Games outfit, by the way? That shit is right out of the Hunger Games, dude. That big O collar she's got on. She looks like Cruella DeVille dressed down just a touch.
Next generation of Americans are using it, and that's actually the point. You have her supporters.
He's getting booed by everybody. Oh yeah, you're just her supporters. Yeah.
Americans
I'm just telling it like it is, me.
are using it, and that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're
The
just
easy
scum.
answer is actually to say that we're just going to ban one app. We got to go further.
Yeah. No, I mean he is. I mean Nikki Haley is a pretty big scumbag herself. But this Vivek guy is taking it to the next freaking level. And there's some follow-up with it. It's not as interesting. So I'm just going to move on from here. But big props to the Rational National. Like and subscribe, folks. This guy does good work. Funny, sexy. I've sent him some Valentines, nothing. Knocked on his door. He said, how'd you get this address? I'm just trying to be a good fan, and just call me, David. So this is reassuring. This is actually nice. Some good news. I have a little bit of good news, folks. Check this out. Currently, no one is attending the TP USA Charlie Kirk event at UCLA. I'm sure this changed throughout the day. I'm sure some people trickled in. Okay, I love the Zoom options. You either get useless, you get fucking completely useless, or too far away. Isn't that great? Year 2023, user interfaces are complete fucking garbage still. So anyway, we have some, I think these are TP USA workers, but they're expecting a much bigger crowd here. Not getting it. A little bit of good news. It's UCLA, whatever, but it's something. Fucking, it's something, dude. I'll take it. It's something. Watch, this event was like sold out, and this was just like, this is just some liberal posting this on Twitter like 3 hours before the event starts, and I look like a complete jackass. That's what happened, wasn't it? Right? I'm not gonna look it up. I don't even want to know. Well, let's go to the comments. Okay. Someone would be pointing this out immediately. Yeah, okay, they're pointing out that it's a liberal college. They're pointing out that it's the midterms. Okay. Yeah, the way it's fenced off looks like a zoo exhibit. That's funny. Over to the Republicans are pedophiles confirmed section of our stream. Another Republican. Oh wait, is this a Republican or is this, what is this? Oh, Utah County therapist. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. I'm getting my pedo Republicans and general pedophiles mixed up. So this fella did the gay conversion therapy stuff, and he took the opportunity to be a gay conversion therapist so that he could rape gay guys and be gay with them. Owen was booked into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of 6 counts of object rape and 4 counts of forcible sodomy. Utah County judge has ordered that Owen remain in jail without the opportunity to post bail, finding that he could be a danger to the community and would likely flee if released. The men accused the former therapist of touching him in ways they felt were inappropriate during sessions. I mean, it's borderline feline. This isn't even the first time I've reported on something like this, but this guy's pretty egregious. But the last time I think I reported on one of these guys, one of his techniques to helping convert gay guys was to have the gay guy sit on his lap and bounce. I'm not fucking with you. Look it up. Might be hard if you look for those keywords. It might be a little difficult, but I promise you, I'm not lying. One of his techniques, come here. We're gonna bounce the gay out of you. Take those pants off. They're too constricting. We need lots of room to bounce. Wouldn't respond. Probable cause. Blah blah blah. Touching include kissing, cuddling, and Owen used his hand to touch their anuses. One man also alleged Owen performed oral sex on him. Boy, this gay conversion therapy, I didn't know he was gonna suck the gay out of me. I didn't know that was the trick. They didn't mention that in the pamphlet. All right, here's the technique. I mean, it's disgusting. It's rape. Okay, we shouldn't be making fun, but I mean, these are the people that are associated. These are the religious fanatics that are working hard every single day to change our lives. To say, I know how to run your life. I know better. I'm smarter. I'm more pious. Whatever. Fill in the blank. Right? And they're dirty little perverts. Okay. Just wanted to point that out. They're massive hypocrites. and they're not to be trusted. The religious extremists. Man, they make their food look so good. Pizza Hut, are you kidding me? Pizza Hut? What the fuck is this? There was a Pizza Hut ad 5 milliseconds ago. They make their food look so good. Then you order it and it's trash. Don't eat Pizza Hut. Don't eat Little Caesars either. That shit is garbo. So, hey guys, did you know Lauren Boebert is a jackass? So here's a really clear example of just how uninterested in governing, how uninterested in being a politician and being a leader she actually is. Yeah, she's one of the gun-loving nuts, but she was famous for her antics for bringing a gun into bringing a gun into the halls here, the House, the Senate, or the House. I don't think she's a senator. I think she's a congressperson. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, U.S. House here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, she kept bringing a gun in, and politicians were rightly like, "Hey, this woman brags about her support for the January 6th protesters. She talks about how Ashley Babbitt is a martyr. How do we know? How do we know she's not just going to open up fire? You know, she's just going to start shooting us. It's going to get a heated debate, and the bitch is going to bust out a gat and start capping us. You know, so there's all these restrictions to bringing a gun in, and she kept flouting those because, oh well, I work here now, and I can break all the laws. I'm not beholden to any of your laws. Anyway, this woman's a maniac, and here's an example of what it looks like when she's when she's pretending to be a politician. I mean, this talk about imposter syndrome. I mean, watch this.
His objection.
Gentleman's recognized.
And I ask the gentlelady to yield for a question.
Gentleman's recognized. It's not my time.
I ask you to yield.
I have reserved. You're free to speak.
Yes, I'm asking if you'll yield for a question.
Sure. Ask your question.
What
She didn't even understand the parliamentary maneuver this man was even doing. She was like, "Oh, well, you're free to speak." And he was like, "Well, no, I actually need to get your permission to ask you a question on the things that you were talking about. That's part of the parliamentary procedure." Well, I don't know. Okay, yeah, whatever. I don't know.
funds in this bill are used? Yield for a question.
Sure. Ask your question.
What funds in this bill are used for the purposes you are opposed to?
Because she just got done grandstanding and saying, you know, we need to stop this, we need to stop that. That's why I'm standing up against this bill. And he's asking, okay, what out of all those things that you just listed, where in the bill is that stuff going to happen? There doesn't appear to be anything in the bill to stop or prevent or, you know, do anything about what you're talking about. Jesus Christ, man. Look at the halls. Jesus Christ. I know this is normal, but it's always like they're doing the people's work and no one's fucking there. But she's like, people
Sorry,
are talking
I
to
couldn't
her.
hear the gentleman. I was getting clarification. This is precautionary.
Precautionary for what? I'm
There are
asking.
sanctuary city policies
Yes, I understand. I understand what you're.
that are in place that are allowing the refuge of illegal aliens in these cities, and there is an influx in crime and drugs
I understand.
in these cities, and there's no way for these folks to even report what is taking place because they are protected under this
Total
fake
mess.
policy that has been created.
Fake
that is
policy.
subduing the actual rule of law that we have in the Constitution of the United States.
Right? I understand that. But what you've said is none of the funds in this bill can be spent for that objective.
And that is precautionary.
What funds are in this bill to be spent for that objective?
I have seen this administration use all sorts of funds
No, I
to
didn't ask
protect illegal aliens.
Reclaiming
and this
my
is
time,
precautionary
Ms.
to
Boebert.
ensure that it will not be.
Reclaiming my time. There are no funds in this bill to do that. So this is just an opportunity for you to stand and perhaps speak about an important subject. I understand that.
And listen to the waffling from the neoliberal establishment over here. He has her nailed dead to rights. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're grandstanding about something that isn't even in this bill. You're wasting everybody's time. And listen to how he like gives her a life raft. This woman denies the legitimacy of the election. This woman agrees with the protesters that were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," and one of them beelining it to Nancy Pelosi until she was shot dead. And I guarantee you Lauren Boebert considers her a martyr. And this is how the neoliberal establishment treats that treasonous trash, with kid gloves, with little, namby-pamby. Oh, maybe you could not be a fascist. That'd be really great. This is why it's happening. Because of these fucking fossils and their neoliberal status quo.
So this is just an opportunity for you to stand and perhaps speak about an important subject. I understand that, but there are no funds in this bill to accomplish that objective. You don't believe the chairman would put funds in to accomplish that objective, do you? I yield.
A question?
Yeah.
I do not trust this administration with any of the taxpayer funding that they are handling. They are mishandling our taxpayer fund. And if the gentleman says that there's no funds and agrees that this is precautionary, then I would urge that you support this amendment.
Do you understand, if we do this amendment, any subject that anybody has an interest in would be subject to such an amendment? Now, the Rules Committee has waived points of order, contrary to what they said they wanted done when we were in charge, because then they didn't want points of order so they could raise them. But there are no funds in this bill, Mr. Speaker, for the objective that the lady wants to prevent.
She wants to add an amendment saying you can't fly to the moon. And well, this is specifically about sanctuary cities. None of this money or whatever should be going to sanctuary cities. And they're like, bitch, is not in the bill. What are you talking about? It ain't going there. What are you talking about? And she's like, well, it's precautionary. And he's like, if we set a precedent where any cockamamie dumbass can just add an amendment for like a non sequitur, something that isn't even related to the amendment, and then make that into law, we're opening up a fucking circus that, a nightmare, a Pandora's box. Right? You're trying to pass some appropriations to build a bridge, and you got some partisan over here being like, well, you can't build a bridge unless we remove COVID vaccines. I'm going to add an amendment to your bill to remove COVID vaccines to build your bridge. And he's like, we can't, this is insane.
And I guarantee you Chairman Womack would not have included any funds to protect such activity. I know.
And she's talking about sanctuary cities. So anyway, you get the point. You want to watch the whole thing, it's right here. But like I said, neoliberals over here, oh, maybe, oh gosh, maybe, I don't know. When he should be admonishing her as a fascist insurrectionist, not treating her as, an equal. That's not what we're talking about, applesaucer. One more comment like that and you are getting the fucking boot. Did you just unironically defend Lauren Boebert's attempt to dismantle our democracy, turning in this whole procedure into a fucking farce? You think I'm just going to let you sit in the chat and be a fucking bad actor with your fucking C-level comedy? You think this is just going to happen? You're going to get the boot so fucking fast, my foot's going to catch on fire mid-flight. Don't have a lot on Ukraine today, unfortunately. I should have more. I apologize. But I did want to show this. These people are making the ultimate sacrifice to fight against tyranny, to fight against a dictatorship attempting to take their country. And now, there's all kinds of caveats. The United States isn't helping because they love democracy. And Ukraine has a long way to go with its corruption issues. But God damn it, these people deserve freedom. They don't deserve to be assimilated. They deserve freedom, like everyone else. And you know what? The Russian citizens that are being fed lies and propaganda, scooped up, almost against their will, basically put in a rock and a hard place situation, sent to the battlefield where they're slaughtered en masse. Yeah, I feel bad for those assholes too. But you see shit like this, man, and I tell you, it makes you want to be certain about what you believe in.
Tata.
If you're not quite sure what we're looking at, this little girl lost her father, and they were visiting his grave, and she was very excited to see his face on the grave there. That's all I have for Ukraine today. I have to keep this very short, but I will be covering more Ukraine in the future, including reporting from Ukraine, the YouTube channel. Who is back. They were sick for a couple weeks, so reporting from Ukraine is back. Unfortunately, I don't have time for reporting from Ukraine today, but we will be covering that. Over to Gaza here. Wanted to start off with Piss Hayes' interview with Rashida Tlaib. I support Rashida Tlaib only up until the point where she's defending the use of this slogan, "From the river to the sea," or whatever the hell. Because I understand the context, but look, man, the left needs to start playing the game of propaganda, of PR. They need to understand the value of these things. You're not going to explain it away. It's an effective propaganda tool. The Israelis have successfully conjoined the idea of of the genocide of all Israeli people with that slogan. No amount of explaining is going to make that slogan not mean that to a vast amount of people. We've lost that fight. There's no point in wasting energy explaining to people the history of the phrase. What you do is when that's brought up and you say, "Hey, how come you said that?" You say, "Well, I said it because it has context, before Hamas, but I realize that it hurts a lot of people. So I'm going to avoid saying it in the future, but understand that I understand that there's historical context to that saying, and I was not saying, murder all the Israelis, but out of respect for the Israelis, I'm not going to use that phrase anymore. Even though it's being misconstrued, I'm just going to show respect anyway and not use it." I really don't understand it's like the left considers, "Oh yeah, we're conforming to the whims of our enemies," or whatever. We're conforming to that. No, Bobo, you just didn't get it, and that's why I had to change the name. Is that people, unfortunately, I don't mean to insult you. You must have been here when I was wearing a mask. People didn't get that I was anti-nihilist. They didn't understand what I was trying to get, so I had to be more specific. But anyway, I don't understand why the left can't do that. Why the left can't just say, "Okay, yeah, I don't acknowledge that saying means kill everybody in Israel." I don't believe that. But out of respect for Israeli people, because right now it's a very sensitive time, I'm not going to use it. They don't do that. They don't do that. They try to argue the history of it, and they try to say it's okay to say it, and we should say it all, and be proud to say it. No, come on, no. You got to learn when to bend. The bamboo bends. The bamboo isn't like a stone wall. The bamboo bends, and the bamboo is stronger than the stone. You can't. The left needs to accept some realities sometimes. And honestly, it's just their dogged refusal to play the game is losing. It's losing us everything. We're better than playing this game. Right? We're not better than, we're not. This is not the West Wing. We don't get to walk away squeaky clean.
I will not be silenced, and I will not let you distort my words. I can't believe I have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable. We are human beings, just like anyone else. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. Why? What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all.
Last night, 22 House Democrats joined with the Republican majority to censure the only Palestinian American in Congress, Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. The resolution accused the congressman of, quote, promoting false narratives regarding the October 7th, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and for calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. The congresswoman denies these accusations. The resolution also objects to a passage in a video she released earlier this month that calls on President Joe Biden to support a ceasefire in Gaza. Specifically, a segment of that video that depicted protesters in Tlaib's home state of Michigan chanting the phrase you see there, from the river to the sea. Now, the resolution called that chant, which is commonly used by some pro-Palestinian activists, quote, a genocidal call to violence to destroy the state of Israel and its people and to replace it with a Palestinian state extending from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea.
So, yeah, it's an intentional misinterpretation that's been weaponized against the left. So what's the left's reaction to it? You know, just, try to recontextualize it. How successful has the left been at doing that? You know, the right comes up with some slogan or recontextualize something. We got this has been destroyed, right? I can't even do this, right? How many of these battles has the left actually won? I can't think of a single one. We get out sloganed, we get out PR'd every time, man. They boogaloo around us.
In a statement, Congresswoman Tlaib rejected that characterization, instead calling it, quote, an aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence.
She's not wrong. She's 100% accurate. She's not wrong. But coming out and just saying, oh, well, it's actually a good thing. That's like, that's like when you're like wearing the Buddhist version of the swastika. You know what I mean? And people keep coming up to you like, dude, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? And you're like, well, no, it's a different swastika, and I'm not, okay, the bad example, right, with swastika in Israel, Gaza, okay, sorry. But you know what I mean? It's like you have a symbol or a saying that is wildly, misunderstood. And instead of just, acquiescing a little bit, keeping your intellectual honesty and saying, well, there's actually a history to the slogan. I don't regret saying it, but bending a little bit and saying, well, out of respect for my Israeli colleagues and those that, I mourn for the innocent Israelis on October 7th. They're not comfortable with the slogan right now. So, I'm just, personally not going to say it. It's like the same stance I have with the N-word. It's like you should have the right to say it, but out of respect, you don't need to say it. Black people don't like white people saying the N-word. Right. So it's not a free speech thing for me because, yeah, technically I should be able to say it whenever I want and not be punished for it. But it's about respect. It's about the respect I have, for black people and the black people in my life and the black people in society. And look, as soon as you find a name that you can call me that I'll be offended by, I'll let you know. Right. But it's going to be pretty hard to find a name to call me that I'm going to be legitimately offended, that I'm not just going to laugh at.
Not death, destruction, or hate. And Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib joins me now. Congresswoman, thank you for coming on tonight. I just want to start by asking.
Yeah, Casey. Thank you, Casey, a fellow content creator. Welcome. But yeah, I mean, it's just why does the left do this to itself? You know what I mean? Why does the left do this to the self? We're playing the game. Switch that bitch on easy mode and fucking, tiptoe around this one. Bend a little bit, like the bamboo. You got to bend a little bit.
Asking what your conversations with your Democratic colleagues have been like over the last 24 hours, particularly if you've talked to any of the 22 that voted for the censure
Casey, you're totally right.
I mean, many of my colleagues know I have an open door policy. They can come and talk to me about this, and they know the conversation will lead in me urging them to please save as many lives as possible, and that means calling for a ceasefire. Again, my colleagues know where my heart is,
Mods,
and they know
ban
that
woke patriot,
from
moderators.
Day one of coexistence, of the days where both my grandparents, when they were born that there was coexistence among all faiths, living in peace.
Oh wait, I don't have any mods.
You know,
shit.
Much of what I'm seeing is distortion of my words, also in trying to silence my residents who.
She's right. She's right. She's right. But look at this is a fight that doesn't need to be fought. She's lucky that fucking Piss Hayes lets her on fucking primetime TV to defend herself. That's a whole shift change from the last time this shit happened. What, in 2005 or whatever, when Israel was blowing up Gaza? Right? I mean, back then when that shit was happening, it was no question. Israel is, nobody being interviewed. You're out. You're gone. You're an anti-Semite if you even question it. So, to see Rashida Tlaib on primetime TV, given the ability to defend herself, that's great. But, what's immediately what we start doing? We start slogging out some little ass battle when we should be talking about the occupation.
Have been calling from the beginning of freedom from inequality.
Thank you, Borderline Feline. I'll let you know.
Occupation, freedom from the violence.
When I get more viewers,
and
maybe.
So it has been really difficult, I think, for me as I walk on the House floor, walking there, watching many of the colleagues that voted for this not engage me, and they know I'm ready. I'm ready to have those conversations, and I think they're missing an opportunity to talk to a Palestinian American, serving with them. I have a lived experience that needs to be shared and be heard.
Yeah, Rashida Tlaib, yeah. But you were also the one that was really, really, gung-ho about separating the infrastructure bill from Build Back Better. You were insistent that we were going to get another opportunity to vote for Build Back Better and that the Progressive Caucus, the squad, has to capitulate. So that happened. Right. I mean, so I'm just like, Rashida Tlaib is totally correct on this, but I just wanted to point out that she has been a very disappointing capitulator to the neoliberals, and she honestly shouldn't be surprised that these cowards are now stabbing her in the back.
I want to sort of stipulate here that I think the censure resolution is a sort of ludicrous distraction amidst the sheer amount of
Patriot,
human
100% correct
in the region. So, just to put that aside, but I do want to talk about this phrase, because obviously this was a phrase that I think really caught some folks, I think Jewish Americans, supporters of Israel, different folks, and it reads differently to different people, from the river to the sea. The contention is that this is a call for a kind of...
He's too scared to even say it. Look at that. He's going to whisper it.
River to the sea. The contention.
Oh no, okay, I'm misinterpreting that. Okay, I'm looking into it. Sorry.
The contention is that this is a call for a kind of anti-colonial expulsion, right? Similar to like Algeria kicking out the French, right? Like, get out of here, go back to wherever you came from. This is how it's heard, I think, to a lot of Jewish ears. And so I want you to explain like what you mean by it and why you used it or why you included it in the video.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm asking my colleagues, don't distort the words of my residents. Many people in this movement for human rights for Palestinians have always centered it around coexistence. You hear them calling for that and saying that, no matter your faith, your ethnicity, your background, you should be able to live without fear, without discrimination, without this kind of inequality.
Look, I don't necessarily disagree, right? But I just wish the left was a little bit more politically savvy. We could tiptoe around these things, because she's gonna spend all this time doing a great job explaining everything when she could have given like a 3-second answer on this, right? And just been like, hey, like I explained earlier, there's historical context to it. I don't disagree with the saying per se, but I understand it offends people. I'm gonna dance around it. Let me pivot to the occupation. Let's talk about Uncle Sam pressuring Israel to make changes. But instead, she's gonna give us a history lesson, like the bad actors that are intentionally weaponizing this phrase need a fucking history lesson for them to change their mind. It's not going to work. The whole exercise is a bad actor exercise, and the left needs to be savvy of these things. We are being attacked by weaponized phrases and weaponized propaganda. We need to dance around these things much better than this. This issue is not missing a history lesson. It's not. The people that are weaponizing this phrase know the fucking history of the phrase. It doesn't matter.
You know, Netanyahu's extremist
It's the misinterpretation that matters.
Leadership has been pushing. And so for many of my colleagues, they know, and deep in their hearts, where my heart is, and many of the folks, including the American Jewish community that's out there, demanding again the call again against this notion that we can't all live together. And so
ton of Jewish organizations out here saying we need peace with the Palestinians, and making the argument that assuming all Jewish people are Zionists and agree with Israel is in itself an anti-Semitic POV. Ironically. Am I allowed to say that, or am I going to get fucking booted?
I think, again, this is just a moment right now that folks want to use the specific moment to silence the majority of Americans that are calling for a ceasefire, to silence this movement.
Wow. No. I completely and radically disagree with you. You think this woman wants all Israeli people dead? You're going to sit there and try and say that unironically? You think she wants Israeli men, women, and children dead? You think she was happy about October 7th? What a fucking piss-faced asshole you would have to be to believe that.
Around actual peaceful coexistence, because right now that's not what Netanyahu wants. Netanyahu's current government, most extremist government in the history of Israel, is not calling for that. He's going to the United Nations and basically showing maps where Palestinians don't exist. And so I wish my colleagues would call out that.
Just to be clear here, I mean, when you talk about peaceful coexistence, you imagine a pluralistic democratic state in the full land from the river to the sea. As people call it the one-state solution. But that would be, I mean, fundamentally, the people that adhere to Zionism and think Israel should exist as a Jewish state, like, they're just not going to like that. I just want to clarify what the actual positions are.
I understand that. And, you know, Chris, look, I grew up in the most beautiful, blackest city in the country where separate but equal didn't work. We saw it in our own country. But I'm not going to push it on the people. If folks want to push for a two-state, go for it. But guess what? Netanyahu's current government is not supporting that.
Yeah, she's right. She's right. And yeah, okay, maybe a one-state solution where Israelis, you know, accept the integration of Palestinian people in their country and don't create apartheid laws where there's a separate set of laws. Yeah, but it really is less likely than even a two-state solution. And once again, I need to bring this up. Why does the left do this to itself? This is easily integration of the Palestinian people in a one state, solution. Is like the hardest compromise to possibly negotiate with the current set of circumstances here. You're more likely to get a two-state solution, you know, and it's like, here's the left right here offering fantasy, you know, when it should be offering pragmatism, you know, and I can't sometimes with these fucking so-called progressives, man. Are they this dense? Okay, you're getting fucking banned, you piece of shit. Thanks for your patronage to the News Underground. Enjoy your fucking flamin' foot ban, dude.
Literally said it to us over and over again. He doesn't want to coexist with Palestinians. And we're saying, no, we're going to have a peaceful coexistence and pushing against the
82 messages down the drain. 82 fucking messages down the drain. Thanks so much for your patronage.
Those that want to target people solely based on the fact they're Palestinian or of a different faith. And again, that's what my city that I grew up in taught me, is to push against that kind of racism, that kind of discrimination, and that kind of, again, call for elimination.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Casey. I mean, that is one of the, you know, there's all kinds of other societal issues, you know, like it's like I said, man, the left over here, you know, and she's representing a part of the left, the progressive left, you know, picking the hardest fucking option, you know, when we should be like, look, a two-state solution almost worked. We really need to, you know, push for that first. Because we gotta have a conversation about removing settlements from the West Bank. You know, that has to happen. There's not enough land to make a two-state solution work. So, I mean, we're over here talking about some fantasy one-state solution when we can't even, you know, when we need to be starting the negotiations for removing settlements. I mean, it's just ass backwards. It's ass backwards.
If I'll use the words he said, cleanse Gaza. You know, this is what I have to continue to speak truth to power on. And I'm not going to allow I'm not going to allow folks to distort or try to silence or, again, try to make out that my residents are calling for anything but the end to the violence.
All right, we're going to end that clip there. I have time for one more clip. I don't have, I just wanted to show you this here. Can some Israeli sycophant, fan of the Israeli right-wing government, explain to me why Israeli troops are patrolling the West Bank, and I'm sure they would refute this, right? This is all fake news reported by Hamas or some other Arab source, so we can't trust it. Israel killing 155 Palestinians, including 45 children in the West Bank in the last month? In the last month? Now, and look at that. Look at how they're treated. Look at that guy. Look right here. Jesus Christ. This is supposed to be normal, guys. We're supposed to accept this as some kind of normal. Catch that one? Catch that one? They treat them like animals. If you treat me like an animal, I'll start acting like one. You start spitting on me, you start throwing rocks at me, you start, poking me and fucking with me and treating me with total disrespect. I'll bite you. I'll bite your hand right off. And quite frankly, that mentality is in every single human being. It's why we survive. Speaking of fights, a fight erupted outside of the Museum of Tolerance after a screening of film on Hamas. So Israel, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman there, has been promoting this film, some kind of gore film filled with Hamas torturing Israeli citizens horrifically. If you're new to the stream, you're not quite sure my stance on Hamas. Let me make it very clear. There's no negotiating with this terrorist organization, but you don't defeat terrorists with guns. How well did the United States do with its war on terror? Last time I checked, Afghanistan is run by the Taliban. Pretty big fucking L. North Vietnamese took over the entire country after we left. Every American life wasted. So our history of defeating terrorism, communism, whatever, trying to change anything at the barrel of a gun has been dismal. Thank goodness we have World War II in Ukraine. Or else, the entire fucking idea that the United States could make any kind of positive change with its massive military force would be out the window. So that's my problem. I want to eliminate Hamas. I acknowledge there's no negotiating with Hamas. You could do a prisoner swap with Hamas, maybe. But there's no, hey, could you maybe be a little bit more democratic, please? So that we could treat you like a legitimate governing body, Hamas? There's none of that. We're not dealing with individuals who are interested in democracy. We are dealing with extreme religious fundamentalists. Okay? What if MAGA got its own fucking country? Norman Finkelstein really pissed all over himself just recently with his defense of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I encourage you to look it up. I went ahead and put him into my suspect pile after his condemnation of Ukraine's, fighting back. I encourage you to look it up. With that said, Norman Finkelstein has been a very strong advocate for the Palestinians. Yeah, he made he made that like tanky argument. With that said, Norman Finkelstein has made very strong arguments for the Palestinian people, but he's on my shit list. And the left should be condemning Hamas. There's no defense of this. There's no defense of this. Any attempt to what about or play apologetics for this fucking terrorist organization just makes us look like fools. We need to acknowledge that we're dealing with a completely intractable force. But what we need to do is take our power and insist and say and protest and say there is a solution to this, and the solution is based in politics. It's not shoot up the place, bomb the place until the terrorists submit. That's not how it works. Okay, so I got time for last little. God damn it. All right, I guess I'm gonna have to save this one until next stream. I need to play it properly. I don't have time to play it properly, but let's get a recap real quick before I have to go. Let's get a recap of the current situation on the ground in the last few hours.
Frankly, look, I think we're looking at a number of different developments today, all of which, frankly, are quite up in the air. First of all, Islamic Jihad, that's a militant group in Gaza allied to Hamas. It's released a video of 2 Israeli hostages, an elderly woman, a young teenage boy, saying it's...
This is what I'm talking about, right? You got the left over here playing apologetics for a group that is doing these things, and it's like, there's no... Stop the whatabouting. Okay, we gotta tackle this from a different angle, guys. Okay, we're not talking about freedom fighters. This isn't fucking, Che Guevara up in the woods. Okay, we're talking about monsters, about as close to evil as you're gonna get. And we shouldn't be using that word because it's a dehumanizing word. Ultimately, we're dealing with humans, but we're talking the lowest of the low. Okay, I don't believe all the stories about what has been done to babies and all that. But I've seen enough video evidence to see. Just today, I saw Hamas throw a grenade into a bomb shelter filled with Israeli citizens. One person saw the grenade. He runs out. They shoot him. They gun him in the back. We're dealing with as close to evil as the human. I think the human being is capable of being. There is no negotiating with this. We need to defeat it. But there's no defeating it with bombs and guns. That's the thing. There's no bombing Hamas to smithereens. It's not going to happen. You're not going to defeat them on that level. You know what would defeat Hamas? Happy, healthy middle class. Right? We got to get the PLO in here. We got to, the PLO needs to take over for Israel and to hold the territory gained by Israel, and then start the slow process of improving the lives of the Gazan citizens, and starting the process, of course, of negotiating with Israel to remove settlements and, turn this into a 2-state solution. Joe Biden and the United States government has the ability to push the Israeli government into making these hard decisions that it doesn't want to make. The United States government could say, I'm turning off the motherfucking magic machine, buddy. You like all those guns? 40% of the Israeli military comes from the United States. You like all that shit? You like your logistical support? You like your fucking planes flying in the air, knowing where the enemy's at? It's all going away unless you sit your ass down at that negotiating table. The United States has the ability to do this, and it refuses to. And the left and the activist left that wants to change this and make this better needs to be making those demands right now.
Prepared to release them if security conditions are met. It's not clear what those conditions are. Certainly the release has not happened yet. There have been multiple reports swirling around about this deal being brokered by Qatar, about a dozen potential hostages being released in exchange for a humanitarian pause in the fighting of around 3 days. But still no indication really from Israeli officials that they're willing to accept that. We have had...
Yeah, and how successful was the United States' efforts in destroying ISIS? You're tubing. We spent like $1 trillion, at least. We murdered thousands. I'm talking tens of thousands of people were murdered by you and me and our taxpayer dollars. And ISIS lives on, stronger than ever, probably.
The US saying there's going to be a 4-hour daily pause in the north of Gaza, but the Israeli army is downplaying that, saying that's pretty much a continuation of what we ourselves saw yesterday with what they call this humanitarian corridor, allowing...
Yeah, that's why they refuse to call it a ceasefire and instead want to call it a humanitarian pause. Humanitarian pause basically means we get to bomb the shit out of you, but maybe we'll let some food through. if we feel like it.
People to flee from the north to the south.
And in fact, if anything, what they're talking up is actually the fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. The fighting really seems to be intensifying, particularly around Gaza City. We can play a video now, I think.
Okay, let's listen.
Holy fucking shit.
Pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those are huge explosions, presumably caused by Israeli airstrikes, next to, very close to, a major hospital in Beit Lahia in northern Gaza. And Israel is...
Yeah, no, it's scary. It's frightening. It ain't going to kill Hamas. You know, no discussion about a southern Gazan invasion, by the way. No, all this talk about eliminating Hamas, blah, blah, blah. No discussion about, well, what the fuck are you going to do about southern Gaza there, candy ass? Same thing? No, we don't really have any plans right now to do that. Then what the fuck are you talking about eliminating Hamas? Why don't you eliminate the bullshit?
Been claiming repeatedly that Hamas key military infrastructure is hidden around hospitals just like that. Of course, doctors there, Hamas, they deny that.
Sure.
We do know that large numbers of civilians are there being treated and displaced and seeking shelter there. We also know that the Israeli army is vowing to press further into Gaza City. It's said that in recent days it's been fighting around less than a mile away from the Al-Shifa hospital, that very big hospital many people will be familiar with now from the tragic scenes we've been seeing out of Gaza. They say they've been destroying tunnels and killing Hamas militants there. Certainly what we're not seeing from anyone in Israel is talk of a ceasefire.
Okay, Sikander, stay there. More from you later in the program. Well, let's go over to Washington now, and our correspondent Siobhan Kennedy. Siobhan, what can you tell us?
Well, Matt, the White House National Security...
I knew her mic was going to be up higher. I just fucking knew her mic was going to be louder.
Council spokesman John Kirby has been asked non-stop when these humanitarian pauses would begin. He's had to bat off those questions rather awkwardly on a daily basis. Well, today, as you've said, he has had some good news, ostensibly, when he told reporters that Israel, it appears, has formally agreed to announce these daily 4-hour pauses in its siege of Gaza to begin today, apparently, perhaps to coincide with the release of some hostages, and thereafter Israel, Kirby said, will announce the pause 3 hours before it is due to begin.
So Israel has already bombed checkpoints and bombed hospitals, not the controversial one. I'm convinced by the evidence that that one specifically wasn't Israel, but Israel just a couple days before that incident bombed a hospital, and I think we've seen they've admittedly bombed the Jabalia refugee camp. And in fact, there was a video I couldn't show you because I need to censor it and describe it to you because it's so graphic. I think that was another bombing of a refugee camp. Does anyone really believe that Israel is going to abide by this 4-hour pause? Does anyone believe that?
Well, the White House will certainly bill this as a win for its intense behind-the-scenes diplomacy, but Joe Biden almost immediately poured cold water on it when he said that he...
Look, I don't agree with people shitting on the Palestinians and saying that they're not human, and I disagree with people saying that, you know, the Zionists are not human. So, you know, you might want to chill out there, okay? Because the solution is a two-state solution. Israel isn't going anywhere. Palestine and Palestinians need to compromise with Israel. I understand it was stolen. The whole situation is fucked. British colony just hands over a country that really isn't theirs. Whole situation's fucked, but we're not getting rid of Israel. It's not on the cards. Realistically, it's not on the table. We got to talk about a two-state solution. So let's try to stay focused in the chat on that, okay? Because this whole idea that we're just going to magically get rid of one party or the other is ridiculous. We have to compromise.
He'd been asking for a pause for much longer than that. Listen to what he told a reporter when he was asked whether or not it was true that he'd asked Prime Minister...
Borderline feline, I didn't know that, and that's fucking outrageous. It's just, I'm so sick of this royal family. Fucking kill the monarchy. Kill it.
Netanyahu for a pause of more than 3 days earlier on this week. Hear what Joe Biden had to say. Did you ask him to pause for 3 days to get the hostages out for that
Yes.
length of time?
I've asked for even a longer pause for some of them.
Mr. President, are you
Who
frustrated
said that?
with Prime Minister Netanyahu that he has not
Who said
listened more to some of the things you have asked him to do?
It's taking a little longer than I hoped.
It's taking a little bit longer.
Well, you heard Joe Biden.
Hundreds of people are dying an hour. Taking a little longer than I'd hope. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
They're openly admitting, I think, for the first time that he is beginning to get frustrated with how long these pauses are taking to implement, especially given the pressure he is under here, both from the Muslim community and from
Look
members
alive,
of
Jack.
his own Democratic Party who are calling not for a pause, but for a ceasefire. On the notion of a ceasefire, Joe Biden was asked today whether there was a possibility that there could be one. None, the president said. No possibility. Matt.
Cool. Then he started screaming, "Raining blood from a lacerated sky."
Pretty clear. Siobhan Kennedy, thank you very much. Well, let's go to the Israeli government spokesman, Elon.
Yeah, let's go to the Israeli government spokesman. Gee, guys, what do you think the Israeli government spokesman has to say about all the death? Do you think he's... Let's time it. How quickly does he bust into a what about argument? Or maybe how quickly does he describe the massacre on October 7th? How quickly do you think he gets into that? 10 seconds into his reply to the first question? I'm going to say 10 seconds into the reply to the first question, regardless of what's asked, we're going to get a description of the October 7th massacre. Let's go ahead and have a listen.
Levy, he joins me now from Tel Aviv. Elon Levy, it's good to have you back on the program. Can you just clear up this confusion then? Because the White House apparently wants 3 days. You're prepared to formalize these 4-hour breaks. Which one is it?
There will be no ceasefire without a return of our hostages. We have Hamas holding 239 of our people, including a 10-month-old baby hostage, and we do not plan to rest until we do everything in our power to bring them home. But at the same time, we're making superhuman efforts in order to keep residents of northern Gaza safe from Hamas's own reckless endangerment of them by embedding itself deep under populated areas. That's why...
Wow. Okay, so I was incorrect. He didn't start describing the October 7th massacre right away, but wow. What a crazy way to frame bombing the shit out of innocent people. They're doing it to keep them safe. Yeah, well, you're pretty safe when you're dead, huh? You don't have much to worry about when you're dead. You're good to go. Do the Gazan citizens do you think they feel safe when Israeli bombs are dropping all around them? You think they feel safe and cuddly? My goodness.
Why I saw your excellent report yesterday. The IDF is in fact securing a humanitarian corridor every day for people to leave. In fact, keeping those people safe from Hamas that has been attacking that corridor.
You know, so I've heard some reassuring statements about Israel, you know, about the United States telling Israel, you're not staying. And Israel saying, we have no interest in occupying this area and, you know, staying and installing new settlements. We're not going to do any of that. I have my doubts. If you want me to ban Mika, go ahead and give me a 1 in the chat. Seems like a pretty annoying person. But I have my doubts. I think Israel is talking up a big game about leaving in the future. But I think what's going to happen is that they're going to say, we can't give this land back to Hamas. They're gonna have to admit defeat, right? Eventually, and say, well, we're not going to go into southern Gaza, so we're going to put up a wall, and we don't trust the PLO, we don't trust the Palestinian Authority. So we're not gonna let the Palestinian Authority in. The only thing we can do is just occupy it for its own good, basically. Like this guy's saying, right? He's saying we're bombing them to keep them safe. I think what we're gonna eventually see from the Israeli government is we need to occupy this territory for our own safety, for Israel's own safety, but also the Palestinians' own safety.
Okay, But a lot of it is in the language, isn't it? Now, President Biden
Yeah,
himself has said no
one
chance
is
of a
good enough.
ceasefire, but he does want that 3-day pause.
Yeah, no, and definitely that's the reason why I'm banning you is because you're telling the truth, and I'm scared of telling the truth, and I'm scared of truth tellers like you. You know, make sure you tell all your buddies that. You know, I was banned again from a liberal political stream because I was just serving up those hot truth bombs, and he just couldn't handle it, guys. He had to ban me, dude. He's you know, just a loony liberal over here, tyrant. So true. I mean, that's why I banned him. I was threatened by his intelligence. Did you see what the straight facts he was spitting in the chat? I can't refute any of that.
Pause in the fighting. Is your government prepared to grant him that?
No temporary ceasefire is on the table until we have a return of our hostages. That is the crisis that we are most concerned about, the fate of 239 people, babies to...
If you get those 2 hostages back that, you know, the Islamic Jihad we're talking about tonight, would that trigger the 3-day pause in the fighting?
Yeah, hey, how about that? You know, they give up some hostages. Will that start the process of negotiating for the rest of them? Or are you just going to continue bombing them to smithereens, making any kind of negotiation impossible immediately?
I'm not going to speculate about details of sensitive discussions that may or may not have been taking place, but we are demanding the immediate and unconditional return of all of our hostages, and we expect our allies to put all possible...
Yeah, no, I also would like to, you know, shit rainbows and, you know, blow out fucking ice cream from my nose. But, you know, still waiting on that one.
Pressure on Hamas to that end.
Right. I mean, America is your best friend. They've been by your side. They've given you a lot of moral, military and financial support. And yet it seems they really don't hold much sway over your government.
Israel and the United States are in complete lockstep on the goals of this war, which is that the war must end with the complete destruction of Hamas. Now, we're very sensitive...
But President Biden was irritated with you today. I mean, President Biden...
You see what I'm talking about? Complete destruction of Hamas? Okay. Does anyone want to bet money that that's not going to happen? Is anyone confident enough? Any hate watchers right now? I shouldn't have banned... No, he was anti-Zionist, so that wouldn't work. But is there anyone that wants to fucking bet me? $10. You're not defeating Hamas. And even if you were to kill, literally, you were just to magically snap your fingers, every single person who is loyal to Hamas is in front of you, and you eliminate them all. The next day in Palestine, there would be a new movement, right? Because it's not about Hamas wasn't formed because they just hate Israelis. Okay, it's this Hamas was formed from the blowback created by Israel's occupation and apartheid state. You know, and is Slick over here going to admit that? No, man. I mean, you cannot have a conversation with a person like this because Israel has done no wrong. History started on October 7th. There was no occupation. And if there was an occupation, well, it's our land anyway. It's set in stone.
Did very rarely for him express irritation with your government. You heard the clip.
Well, let me tell you about the efforts that Israel is making in order to protect civilians in the northern Gaza Strip.
Oh, this ought to be great.
Our campaign to defeat Hamas. Today, Israel opened, I believe it's the first army in history to do so, a human shield hotline. We know that Hamas is holding people against their will in northern Gaza and stopping them from leaving because their entire strategy is based on holding human shields. Right. And I want to read out that number to you right now.
Can I just ask, I just want to ask you about that. Sorry to interrupt you. This is such an...
These guys are saints. These guys are saints. They should put the number to the hotline on the bombs that they're dropping. That way they'll definitely get the message.
Novel idea. A human shield hotline. How's that supposed to work when you shut down the internet and telecoms?
There are phone lines in Gaza at the moment, and I want to read the number because I know many people in the UK may be concerned for friends or relatives in Gaza. And if they call our army, tell them that Hamas is holding them hostage, +972 50 341 0322. I'll say it again.
Wow. They think we're morons. They think we're fucking idiots. A fucking hotline. If you're kidnapped by Hamas, your iPhone is fully charged and somehow working, 20 stories beneath the earth in some dank fucking dugout in the desert. Give this hotline a call. Why? Even if all that happens, what are they going to say? You're fucked. You want to give me your location so I can fucking bomb you? You want to give us your location so I can fucking destroy you and everyone that's there? It's so asinine. It's insulting. It's insulting to the world's intelligence. It's a spit in the face of real humanitarian efforts. A fucking hotline. If you're a human shield. Okay.
Gaza_saver. And we will do whatever we can in order to rescue you from the clutches of Hamas.
Yeah. We'll do whatever we can, honey. And then when we give up, we're just going to drop a bunker buster.
Right, so you've bombed them relentlessly for the last month. You've killed over 10,000, mainly civilians. And now
Hamas, it's funny. So he's going to point that out, right? Oh, well, those are Hamas numbers. Isn't it very, okay, so, they're trying to say, well, we don't know the real number. So doesn't theoretically that mean the number could be much higher?
Now you're giving them the Human Shield hotline.
No, Matt. 27 days ago, Israel warned residents of northern Gaza to get out of harm's way because the fighting is going to get dangerous where Hamas has cynically embedded itself under civilian infrastructure. We're pleased that most of the residents of northern Gaza have heeded our warning and have got out of the way, and only a small minority...
Casey Lee. Yeah, that's obviously what it... Yeah, exactly. Oh, Grug, Hamas. I can't eat this. This isn't the Quran. Ugh. Throws it back to the hostage. God damn it.
Remain. And we're calling on them to get out of the way because Hamas is putting them in danger by building tunnels under their homes, schools, hospitals, mosques.
I don't disagree that Hamas does this. Then this is where I'm talking about where the left needs to acknowledge the monstrous nature of Hamas and stop doing apologetics and whatabouting. Going what about the occupation does not work unless you are unequivocally saying Hamas is a piece of shit and we need to empower the PLO. We got to get other Arab nations, to get in here and start the process of healing and negotiating, because they're not going to be negotiating with Whitey. Okay. We got to get the Arab fucking nations in on this one. We got to get the Arab League on this one. Right, but no one negotiating with Iran and Jordan. No, we can't be doing those are Muslims and brown people. We can't do that. I'm just going to stick my gun in your face and you're eventually going to do what I tell you to do. It's the American way. And it doesn't fucking work. Didn't work very well with Afghanistan, did it? And there's a good goddamn reason.
Okay, gonna leave it there. Elon Levy, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, all right. Leave it there. So I don't have time for this whole thing, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I wish I did, but I got family obligations I got to get to. But if you want to watch the rest of this, it's right here. I encourage you to follow Channel 4. They've been following this. They got people on the ground in Gaza, and maybe not in Gaza, actually. I don't think they have but they definitely have a couple in Jerusalem. I've made my statements very clear. I still believe in the innocence of the Israeli citizens that believe in peace and the Gazan citizens that believe in peace. I believe that there's way more than the warmongers are assuming. I believe the grand majority of people in both of these countries just want some kind of understanding, to be made. Some kind of negotiation so the madness can stop. I mean, how do you feel if you live in one of these kibbutzes right on one of these borders? Seeing the failure of your government to protect those people, knowing that your, iron wall of invincibility wasn't so invincible. And then, you know, the conspiratorial idea that maybe Bibi Netanyahu knew something about it and was willing to sacrifice those people for his own political gain. But that's a conspiracy right now. So I just wanted to make that clear. Fuck Hamas. Fuck the right-wing Israeli government. But let's not forget the innocent civilians on both sides here. Those poor people on October 7th. No one deserves to die that way. Not even an occupier. Folks, to create real political change, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a progressive political organization in your area. And step 3, put in the work. The fascists are putting in the work, and their victories are still worrisome. Even with, you know, the current state of things. You know, we just had a really, you know, pretty encouraging election in the United States. Republicans losing almost everywhere. With that said, it's a race for them to destroy democracy. And we need to remember that we're in that race and we need to fight them. The fight is not over just because, you know, there's been some Democratic victories. Look up Project 2025. It's a real thing. It's really happening. Democracy is under attack. You need to get involved. You do. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East, and glory to the Ukrainian democracy. We're going to see you again next time on the News Underground, folks. I'm Abandoned Nihilism, aka the Harbinger. Fuck that shit.
We got all them motherfuckers deep off in there. All these motherfuckers having this shit, I really don't know what's going on. So what's up to everybody?
Big props, Casey Lee. Big props, Casey Lee. Big props, all you viewers.
Yeah.
Borderline Feline, Woke Patriot, Chem Goblin, You're Tubing, Eric the Eclectic. Smoke one, motherfuckers. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East.